This is a 13 Weather Impact Alert.
Well, happy Thursday evening, West Michigan. The time here about 9:02 in the evening and 9:03 to be exact. And, you know, today was a warmer day compared to the last few. It was quite chilly earlier in the week, but today we rebounded. And really our focus now from a weather standpoint is all about tomorrow, and that's because we do have the opportunity of periodic thunderstorms pretty much throughout the day. Now, I will say this, there's a lot of moving parts with tomorrow's forecast, and I wouldn't be surprised many of us avoid severe weather in total tomorrow. I think the likeliest thing tomorrow, and we'll show this in a little bit, is that it will be a warm day tomorrow, almost in summer feel. For many, especially from, let's say, Holland, Grand Rapids, and places southward. But we do have a weather impact alert tomorrow just because of that opportunity of severe weather. This will be kicking off with some thunderstorms late tonight. Those should behave for the most part. Really, our focus turns to two times tomorrow. One time frame tomorrow, midday. In the lunch hours, so late morning, the early afternoon, and then late in the day. That's the highest risk potentially as we get towards sunset tomorrow. I have a broad time frame there of around 6 in the evening until 2 in the morning Saturday, but it does appear from roughly 8-ish or so to about midnight tomorrow. That's the best opportunity for some storms with large hail and strong winds. I think the thing with tomorrow is that, if I go back to my graphic here it is. If we get, is just checking in for updates throughout the day. Tomorrow's a Friday. We're heading in the Easter weekend. People just trying to get out and about. Just one of those days to be weather aware. Again, we're not sounding the alarm by any means. Again, there's a fair opportunity. Many of us avoid severe weather and possibly even thunderstorms in general as the day goes on. But there is also that chance we see the other side of things with some stronger to severe weather here at home. Temperatures today, we were in the 60s. It was a decent day overall, a touch breezy in the afternoon. Some of that cloud coverage snuck in, but we settled mostly in the middle 60s today, including the lakeshore. Lakeshore yesterday, you were in the 40s. And today was a big rebound. We're still holding on the upper 50s to lower 60s right now. And just comparing this to yesterday at this time, so now to 24 hours ago, we're nearly 15 to almost 30 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, especially for our lakeshore communities. Last night got a little chilly with a clear sky, calm wind. A little different today because our wind direction was out of the south, feeding in some of that warmer air, and we still have that southerly wind in place and also some cloud coverage as well. Look what happens tonight. We'll get into that thunderstorm chance tonight in just a minute, but numbers only fall into the lower 50s, so a mild night ahead of us. On average, we should still be falling into the 30s for that nighttime low. And then we soar well through the 60s in many spots, and there'll be a fair chunk of us well into the 70s. If you're watching from Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, for example, there is the opportunity tomorrow to hit 80 degrees. There will be a bit of a spread tomorrow, temperature-wise. If you're watching from, let's say, Big Rapids compared to Kalamazoo, could be easily a 10-degree difference tomorrow for that daytime high. And that's all because we have a warm front that's going to lift northward through our neck of the woods tomorrow. So many will climb in the 70s, but if you're a little closer to, let's say, Fremont, Big Rapids to the north, it might be upper 60s. But still, that's mild. That's a above average day temperature-wise for this point of April. There's the big picture. Made this surface map pretty simple. We have a warm front to our west, and that's going to make its way into West Michigan later tonight and then swing into the area through the daytime hours tomorrow. That's allowing for some showers just to our west to build in. In fact, some rain trying to sneak in right now at the lakeshore. Some of the struggling to reach the ground just because we're still fighting a lot of dry air at the surface of our atmosphere. So the rain, it's raining a few thousand feet up in our atmosphere, but it's evaporating before it reaches the ground. That will finally erode away as the night goes on, and then we'll see some thunderstorms develop and head our way after midnight tonight. Look at some thunderstorm activity back towards southern Minnesota, severe weather, actually some tornadic storms down in western Iowa into eastern Nebraska, right in the Omaha area. This cold front is going to swing through West Michigan tomorrow evening into tomorrow night. That's going to be the main importance of this forecast, the main player in our forecast for potential strong to severe storms late tomorrow as this cold front comes through with the warm front already well to our north. But here's some of that storm activity again, just to the right around the Omaha area to be exact. Some of these storms definitely on the severe side. You can see some of these tornado warnings here. This one just to the east of Omaha now in the northwest corner of Iowa, and then you got one just to the south side of Omaha. And look at some of the hail. I just want to point this one out. Some of the hail could be upwards of 2 inches in diameter. That's easily over golf ball size hail, almost approaching baseball size hail in some locations. So definitely a dangerous storm there in the Omaha area. And look at the hail in this storm to the north. Yeah, over almost 3 inches in diameter, 2 3/4. That's the tag on that severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning. That's to the now east of Omaha and parts of in western Iowa. So yeah, some dangerous storms out there. The good news is that tonight we will not see any major severe weather. I think for the most part, some storms that will drift into the area could provide a small hail threat, not as large as 2 to 3 inches in diameter like they're dealing near Omaha, but could be some isolated hail later tonight. And then our threat will generally be in the way of wind and hail come tomorrow late in the day. That seems to be our two biggest risk from a severe weather note. But I'll show this in a little bit. Our tornado risk is not zero as well. We still have a small tornado risk in the forecast tomorrow. A lot on the screen here, but late tonight, after midnight tonight, through around daybreak, that's when we're going to have a few scattered thunderstorms come through West Michigan. A lot of that north of I-96. That will bring a mostly isolated hail, wind risk, and again, a lot of this sub-severe, so not meeting that severe weather criteria. For those that need a refresher on that, you need for a severe thunderstorm warning either inch in diameter hail, wind gust in excess of 58 miles per hour, or the potential of a tornado. So one of those three things there need to occur for a storm to be technically severe. So I think most of these storms tonight will be sub-severe. Tomorrow in the midday hours, this time frame right here is going to be the sneakiest part of tomorrow, I think. This is when that warm front is going to be lifting through West Michigan, past I-96. There is some, at least, notion on the model data that a few storms may try to fire up along that warm front in the midday hours tomorrow. And it's always a sneaky game there when you have some storms trying to fire up along a warm front. There could be a little bit of a discrete severe risk, including a spin-up tornado risk in the midday hours tomorrow. There's not a lot of confidence in this at all, but the chance is there just based on the positioning of the warm front and a few other ingredients in play. Then we get into the afternoon tomorrow, into the early evening, so we'll say mid-afternoon through dinner time. Much of West Michigan will be dry and just warm, and that's because our atmosphere is capped, and all that means is that that suppresses thunderstorm development. I have a graphic to show in a little bit, but I think most of the afternoon into the early evening will just be warm and dry here at home. And then our focus turns towards the end of the day into the at least first half of the nighttime hours tomorrow of that cold front coming through and maybe a few storms breaking through that cap and allowing for a severe weather risk. So again, a lot of moving parts tomorrow, nothing that's really set in stone. I don't like those days by any means. It doesn't help a lot of people at home just because there's so much uncertainty, but that's the game we're playing with tomorrow, is that it's kind of a wait and see game with how these thunderstorms behave. How the first round goes will influence that midday round, and how that midday round goes could influence the evening round. So that's why tomorrow is just one of those days. Just check back in with the forecast here and there. Have the phone on you just in case anything does pop up. So this is our current hour-by-hour forecast from a simulated radar standpoint. Outside of some light rain the next few hours, our thunderstorm chance picks up generally after midnight tonight. This is around 4 in the morning tomorrow, so very late in the night into the early hours of Friday. There's our severe, or excuse me, not our severe, there's our scattered thunderstorm chance that could bring in some stronger activity, maybe in the way of some half-inch diameter hail, maybe we'll say penny-size hail, maybe some gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour. Enough that packs a punch, but technically not severe. That will be the case late tonight into early tomorrow. That peels out of here, and then notice, again, there's midday. This is around 10, 11 in the morning. Notice this model trying to showcase a little activity here, and I'll show one other model as well because it does show a similar outcome tomorrow midday. That if we can see something develop on that warm front midday, that will be interesting to track and just see how that behaves. But once that passes by, again, I think by afternoon, regardless of what happens earlier in the day, we're going to be dry in the afternoon, the early evening, and then here comes the cold front. And you can kind of tell the cold front might be hard on your screen to see, but see these arrows? I might try to do something here. Yeah, these arrows, if you can see them on the map here, out ahead of this cold front here in West Michigan, we have that south wind. Those arrows are coming in from the south. That's the warm air, because the warm front's to our north. Warm front's all the way up towards Big Rapids to the north. But behind that warm air, here on the other side of the lake, Chicago, Milwaukee, those wind arrows are coming in from the north and west. And so there's the cold front right around here, and this is around 10 o'clock at night. Notice this model trying to spit out, blossom a few thunderstorms, and we might just have enough instability, enough energy left in our atmosphere for some of these storms to be on the stronger side late tomorrow evening into tomorrow night. So that will be the main focus once we get towards the end of the day, and then Saturday, that's a quiet day in general. I want to show this other model. This is the HRRR model. That's a high resolution model. It does okay in terms of trying to talk about thunderstorm activity. So there's tonight. You can see some of those thunderstorms, a similar look to what we just showed on that other model. There's that thunderstorm activity, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, maybe just enough to pack a little bit of a punch. And then these storms are out of here, but look what happens midday. Notice that this model trying to blossom a storm or two late morning into early afternoon. That's along the warm front. So it's something just to take note of midday tomorrow. We don't think of severe weather usually earlier in the day, especially here in West Michigan. But if there's just the right combination of ingredients with that warm front, could see a sneaky storm midday tomorrow. Hopefully we don't, but it's something just to keep a close tab on. So that passes. Notice afternoon, evening, for the most part, pretty dry. And then finally, here comes later in the evening, 6, 7 o'clock, the high resolution model trying to fire up some storms with the arrival of the cold front. So you can kind of tell it in my messaging, my wording here, the confidence just not really high in terms of how these storms will play out. Very fickle day tomorrow storm-wise. And really, once we get past the morning, midday round, the big reasoning is that we have this cap in our atmosphere. And this cap can just be explained simply as we have a pretty warm layer of air, a few thousand feet in our atmosphere. We're going to be warming up tomorrow as the day goes on. Again, a lot of us in the 70s, some closing in on 80 degrees. So that allows air to rise. It's basic physics. Warm air rises in our atmosphere. But if you hit an even warmer pocket of air, a few thousand feet up in the atmosphere, it's what we call an inversion. That's the cap itself, a capping inversion. And that suppresses that warm air to rise. It kind of just stops. And in turn, doesn't allow thunderstorms to really develop. Again, I've kind of used this analogy a lot over the last day and a half. It's you have a pot of boiling water, you turn on the stove, you try to get the water to boil. That's the atmosphere heating up during the day, and all of a sudden you're starting to see that water boil, steam's trying to billow, but you put a lid on that pot, and that stops the steam from expanding. And that's kind of the same thing here in our atmosphere. You have a lot of momentum at the surface, that heating of the day, air's trying to rise, but then it hits that cap, and then it stops because warm air can't rise any further on top of even warmer air. And so that's a similar thing here when you put that pot or put that lid on a pot of boiling water. Now, if we can break the cap, then we could see strong storms develop pretty quickly. Again, going back to that lid on a pot of boiling water, you quickly take the lid out, well, that steam billows quickly, and you're allowed to have a lot of momentum escape, and likewise in our atmosphere, allow storms to quickly blossom and strengthen. And that's when you could really see some stronger storms develop. And that's what we could see tomorrow evening as that cold front closes in from the west late in the day. Again, it's not a slam dunk, but that is a possibility tomorrow evening. And that's why I think the Storm Prediction Center has kept much of West Michigan in this level 2 slight risk. There are ingredients around tomorrow, but there's really not a lot to warrant any higher of a risk, just because there's so many failure methods tomorrow to suppress thunderstorms. Again, it could be easily the case we are fairly dry tomorrow, especially after that early morning round. We could be fairly dry tomorrow and might not see much in the evening hours, and then we just get done with Friday and we're back to a quiet Saturday forecast. But if we did see some storms become severe, wind and hail, that's going to be the main two risk as the day goes on. Again, that tornado risk, not the highest concern, but also not zero. So we have to respect that. I'm really not concerned about any flooding tomorrow, just because it's not looking to be anything of a widespread stormy day. And in fact, it takes quite a bit here in West Michigan for us to really see flooding rain. It doesn't appear to be that way. But our confidence is low. There's no other way to shake it. I'd be lying if I said our confidence was high tomorrow, and I won't do that. It's a pretty low forecast confidence-wise tomorrow. Last note here, it is Easter weekend. A lot of people got things to do. Saturday will be a dry day. That's good news there for the first half of the weekend. Probably more clouds than sun, especially through midday, maybe a few peaks of sun as the day goes on. But Saturday's quiet. Sunday, however, Easter Sunday does appear to be a little bit of a different story. It does look like we're going to have to contend with a few showers, especially later in the day. That will keep us definitely in the 50s on Sunday. I think both weekend days will be in the 50s, but Sunday probably a little cooler with more cloud coverage and that rain around. I want to show this here, and you can see, okay, there's Friday night, there's our storm potential, and then it's out of here. That front is to our south, so that's why Saturday is a dry day. That cold front is to our south. But what happens on Easter Sunday is that cold front comes back to the north, and that's going to allow for some showers to come in. So there's about noon, 1 o'clock, showers closing in maybe as far north as I-96. And then, yeah, there's the afternoon and into the evening. Hoping that this is going to be more scattered than steady, but it could be a little bit of a rainy afternoon and evening in some spots on Easter. And then we'll see this system finally sweep through Sunday night into Monday midday. So it does look like later Sunday into Monday will be a little bit on the rainy side. So that's what we'll have to contend with. But if you're looking for spring warmth, there's a lot of spring warmth on the horizon. This is the 8 to 14 day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. They look at trends in terms of weather patterns that are coming over the next week or two. And definitely there's a lot of confidence that we're going to trend probably warmer more days than not to wrap up the month of April. This goes from the 24th to the 30th, so the last week of April. And notice much of the country favored to be above average. The deep south favored the most in that darker reddish color there. But us in West Michigan, by the end of April, our average daytime high is in the lower 60s. So if we see more days than not, warmer than that, yeah, that's a pretty warm stretch. And it does appear that we will have more days than not, at least in the 60s, as next week goes on, and even extending further towards the end of April itself, and probably a few days here and there where we squeeze in a few days in the 70s. So spring is closing in on here, and I just don't see any winter weather left this season. I think we're pretty much done with winter weather, maybe outside of a lone chance of a passing rain-snow mix on a random night the rest of this month. That might be just about it. So we might be saying bye to winter all the way until we'll see it again next November. That appears to be the case with this warmer than average pattern setting up the rest of April. And you know, it's one of those things, usually once we get into a sustained pattern, we fully switch over to spring, and that might be the case by the end of the month into May. So again, you know, the bottom line here tomorrow is that we're going to have some thunderstorms around potentially through the day. We have that early morning round that mostly will behave. We'll keep an eye on that midday threat with an isolated storm or two, and then that potential late in the day as the cold front sweeps through. Of course, none of these slam dunks. We'll see how it goes. I think the likeliest thing tomorrow by far will be the warmth. It'll just be a warm Friday across West Michigan, especially from roughly Muskegon, Holland, Grand Rapids, Ionia, and southward, stretching to the east side of the state, well into the 70s. Maybe Kalamazoo and Battle Creek squeezing in on 80. So that's going to be one thing that's likely tomorrow. We'll see how those thunderstorms go. All right, it's about 9:25, 9:26 here on this Thursday evening. We've been going on for a little bit here. We'll keep you updated as tomorrow goes on. Myself, meteorologist Colton Woods, meteorologist Amber Tuardi, we will have you covered through the day tomorrow, and let you know if anything warrants some bigger messaging, more communication with the potential of those thunderstorms as tomorrow goes on. If not, well, we'll just enjoy a warmer end to our weekend heading into Easter weekend. All right, for now, have a great rest of your evening, everyone. We'll keep you updated as need be, but for now, have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you later.
This has been a 13 Weather Impact Alert.